My sister told my fiancé I was cheating, then poisoned me on my wedding day. I'm 18 now. But my story doesn't start there. It starts way back. Back when I was just 5 years old, standing at the corner of our living room, watching my parents praise my sister for spelling elephant correctly while I held a crayon drawing no one even looked at. That's what it's always been like. Me in the shadows. Maya in the spotlight. Maya, my older sister by 1 year, has always been perfect. The golden child. The role model. The one whose face everyone lights up for. She was the baby who started walking at 9 months. The one who got a scholarship before she even hit double digits. The girl whom teachers wrote glowing letters about. The daughter who made our parents feel like they were doing something right in this messed up world. And me? I was the accident they couldn't return. I heard them once, through the bedroom wall, when I was about 10. My dad had said, if we didn't have Ray, we could have afforded to send Maya abroad. And my mom? She sighed. Well, at least Maya's making it worth it. That line stuck in my brain like a splinter I could never pull out. I was never worth it. In school, I tried to make them proud. I joined clubs. I wrote poetry. I painted. But no one ever clapped for me the way they clapped for Maya. When I got second place in an art competition, my dad didn't even look up from his phone. When Maya got second place in a science quiz, they threw her a dinner at her favorite restaurant. Maya could fail and still be praised. I could succeed and still be invisible. Over time, I stopped trying. Because what was the point of blooming if no one cared enough to water you? But Maya? She never stopped. Never stopped being perfect. She was beautiful, too, like the kind of girl you see on magazine covers. Long hair, clear skin, and the walk of someone who's always been told the world belongs to her. And then there was me. Always a little awkward. A little too loud or too quiet. Hair that frizzed when it rained. A smile I didn't even believe in half the time. Maya didn't have to try to shine. She just existed, and the whole room bent toward her light. At family gatherings, relatives would call her our future doctor. And me? They would say, Ray's got spirit. Like I was some wild animal they couldn't tame but hoped would stay quiet long enough for Maya to talk. One Christmas, I overheard my aunt whisper, if I were Ray, I wouldn't even bother competing with Maya. It's not her fault she's the spare child. Spare child. That's what I was. Not the firstborn. Not the favorite. Just extra. But I never hated Maya. Not at first. In fact, I used to follow her around like a lost puppy. She'd braid my hair. Pick my outfits. Tell me how to walk, how to smile, and how to speak less like a loser. And I listened. Because maybe, just maybe, if I became more like her, they would love me too. But the truth? Maya didn't want me to shine. She wanted me to orbit around her, silent, small, and easy to control. And I let her. Until he came along. Until Noah. I was 16 the first time I met Noah. It was raining. Not the soft, movie-type rain, but the kind that soaks you straight to the bone, no warning. I had ducked into the small bookshop near school, the one nobody really noticed because it was hidden behind the noisy snack vendors and kiki honking. I wasn't looking for anything. Just shelter. But then I saw him. He was sitting cross-legged on the floor of the fiction section, flipping through a novel with one hand and eating puff-puff with the other. And for some reason, he looked up at me like I was the only person in the world. No one had ever looked at me like that before. Not like I was Maya's sister. Not like I was the regret child. Just, like a person. He stood up and said something dumb like, "You look like the kind of person who secretly reads romance novels and tells people you don't." I laughed. For real. And from that moment on, I kept going back. At first, it was once a week. Then twice. Then every day I could escape my house without being noticed. We would sit on the floor behind the tall shelves and talk about the weirdest things, his fear of ducks, my dream of running an art cafe, and the way both of us felt like we didn't fit in our own homes. He told me his dad left when he was little. That his mom worked double shifts just to keep them afloat. But he smiled through it all, like life couldn't break him, no matter how hard it tried. He called me his soft space. And I called him my only light. I remember the first time he kissed me. We were sitting outside the bookshop. It was sunset. The sky looked like it had been painted by someone who loved pinks and purples too much. He touched my face and said, "You are not invisible, Ray. I see you. I see all of you." And then he kissed me like I mattered. For the first time in my life, I felt seen. Not for what I could be. Not for what I lacked. Just for who I was. When I turned 17, he gave me a ring. Not the expensive kind. Just a simple silver band with a tiny emerald stone, my birthstone. He said it wasn't a proposal, not yet. Just a promise. That he would wait. That we would build something real. Something far from this town. Far from Maya. Far from the people who only saw me as a problem. I wore that ring like armor. Because for the first time, I wasn't begging to be loved. But I made the mistake of telling Maya about him. Not everything. Just that there was someone. Someone who made me feel like maybe I wasn't as broken as everyone thought. And that was when everything changed. Maya started showing up randomly when I was with Noah. At the mall. At the cafe. Outside school. Always with a smile that was too wide and eyes that stayed on him too long. She would ask him dumb questions like, "Do you even know what Ray's like when she's mad? She is a whole storm." Or, "Are you really sure she is your type? She is a little intense, isn't she?" Noah would just laugh it off. Hold my hand tighter. But I saw the way Maya looked at him. Not like a sister meeting her sibling's boyfriend. But like a lion eyeing prey. Then came the whispers. From girls at school. From mutuals online. "Isn't that Maya's ex? I thought she dated him first. That's not Ray's man. That's Maya's leftover." Lies. Fabrications. But ones that stuck. Because when Maya speaks, people believe her. And when I speak, they roll their eyes. I asked her, point blank, if she ever dated Noah. She laughed like I was insane and said, "I wouldn't date your type of guy. He is sweet. I like men with power." But that night, I saw her phone screen light up. A message from Noah. She had saved his name as my maybe. I should have run. I should have ended everything. But I stayed. Because he told me he loved me. Because I wanted to believe love was stronger than Maya. I didn't realize. Maya wasn't trying to take him from me. She was trying to ruin me in front of the only person who truly loved me. At first, it came in whispers. Soft, subtle little things that were easy to ignore if I wasn't paying attention. Noah would ask me weird questions like, Were you at that guy's house last weekend? I would blink in confusion. What guy? Or he'd ask if I ever messaged someone named Brian, accusing me of flirting. I laughed it off the first few times. Until the proof started coming in. Screenshots. Pictures. Messages I never sent. One showed me messaging a guy from my class, saying I missed him and wanted to see him. Another showed me in a picture, hugging a boy in a dim hallway. Except I hadn't hugged anyone. And that hallway? It wasn't even at my school. It didn't make sense. I told Noah they were fake. He wanted to believe me, I saw it in his eyes. But doubt had already been planted. And behind it all, I could feel her. Maya. You see, Maya never attacks directly. She doesn't yell. She doesn't scream. She poisons you slowly, drop by drop, until you're choking on your own breath, and everyone around you thinks you're overreacting. She started calling Noah more often. By mistake. She'd say she meant to call Mom or that she needed advice on a gift for our parents. One time, she accidentally sent him a selfie in a towel, then followed it with, "Oops. Sorry. That was for someone else. Ignore it." And the worst part? She said it with such innocence that even I started to doubt my own anger. Because that's the thing about Maya. She's not just a liar. She's a believable one. I begged Noah to block her. He said I was being dramatic. That Maya was just trying to be closer to me. That I should be grateful she cared. Grateful? She was shoving knives in my back and smiling like it was a birthday party. Then came the text messages from an unknown number. Screenshots of fake conversations. Photos of me with Noah edited to look like I was pushing him away. One even showed me kissing someone in a car. Only, that wasn't my car. It wasn't even my uniform. But it was close enough to make someone question. Noah showed me the texts. His hands were shaking. And I couldn't breathe. I told him they were fake. I cried. I screamed. He hugged me, but there was a stiffness in his grip. That night, I stared at the ring on my finger for 2 straight hours. Wondering if love was enough. Wondering if he still saw me, or if he only saw the mess Maya painted over my name. Meanwhile, she kept smiling. She offered to help with the wedding. Said she wanted to be my maid of honor. Said she would help me pick the cake, the dress, and the photographer. She even cried fake tears and told my mom, "I just want Ray to be happy. I know we don't always get along, but she's my sister." My mom believed her. Everyone believed her. No one believed me. The worst moment? One night, Maya came to my room. She said she had something to show me. It was a message from Noah. She claimed he messaged her at 2 a.m. asking if she was awake. That he said he needed someone to talk to. That I was becoming too unstable. She showed me the screenshot. And for a second, I broke. Because I didn't know what to believe anymore. The lies were layered so perfectly I couldn't see where truth began. I started sleeping less. Stopped eating properly. I became paranoid and anxious, jumping at every vibration on my phone. And Maya? She kept telling everyone I was losing it. I think Ray's having a breakdown. She gets so defensive now, it's scary. She might not be ready for marriage. And Noah? He began pulling away. Smiling less. Looking at me like I was a stranger wearing my own face. One day, he asked me if I needed a break. Just a short one. Said maybe I needed time to recenter. That word felt like a hammer to my chest. But I agreed. Because I was tired of fighting everyone. Even the man I loved. And as I walked away from him that evening, Maya stood at the end of the hall. Watching. Smiling. Holding her phone up like she was filming my fall. By this point, my world had shrunk into whispers. I couldn't walk into a room without hearing people lower their voices. My own family watched me like I was a bomb waiting to explode. Like I was the one tearing everything apart. And Maya? Maya was the saint who tried to hold me together. Every time I cried, she handed me tissues. Every time I snapped, she sighed and said, "She's just stressed." She told my parents she was worried about me. And they believed her. I sat down with my mom one day, desperate. I tried to explain what was happening. That Maya was lying. That someone was trying to destroy me. She looked up from her glass of wine and said, "You always think the world is out to get you, Ray. Maybe the problem is you." I sat there frozen. I could feel my heart thudding so loud I thought it might explode in my chest. And then she said the line I'll never forget. "Stop trying to compete with Maya. You'll only hurt yourself." The wedding was 3 weeks away. But I didn't feel like a bride. I felt like a prisoner walking toward her own execution. Noah barely texted me. When we talked, it was short. Awkward. He was busy. Tired. Confused. He still called me his fiancé. But it sounded more like a duty than a promise. And I couldn't tell what was worse, him pulling away. Or the fact that I was starting to believe maybe I wasn't good enough. That week, Maya offered to take over planning. She said I needed rest. Said I wasn't thinking clearly. Said she could handle everything, from the vendors to the bridesmaid fittings. I let her. Because I had nothing left to fight with. Because I didn't want to cry anymore. Because I didn't want to lose Noah completely. And deep down, I was still hoping that if I stayed quiet enough, still enough, Maya would get bored and stop. But snakes don't stop when they smell blood. They strike. The final fitting day came. I stood in front of the mirror in my wedding dress, and for a second, just a second, I felt something like happiness. The lace fit perfectly. The light caught the satin just right. I looked like someone who deserved love. And then Maya walked in. She didn't say anything at first. Just circled me like she was inspecting prey. Then she said, "It's beautiful." I smiled. And she leaned in close and whispered, "He won't even notice. He's still thinking about me." I flinched. She smiled and adjusted my veil like nothing happened. The photographer came in and snapped the photo. I didn't smile in it. I couldn't. Because I knew, no matter how perfect the dress was, Maya would always be standing behind me, holding the knife. The night before the wedding, Maya brought tea to my room. "Chamomile," she said. Said it would calm my nerves. Said it was a tradition in some places for the maid of honor to serve the bride-to-be. I didn't want it. But I was tired. Tired of saying no. Tired of being suspicious of every move. So I drank it. Slow sips. While Maya watched me like she was waiting for something. She asked if I was excited. I nodded. She asked if I loved him. I said yes. And she tilted her head. "He's lucky," she said. "You'll make a beautiful wife." At least for a few hours. I blinked. What? She smiled. Nothing. And then she left. That night, my stomach cramped. My throat burned. I thought it was just stress. Just wedding jitters. But somewhere inside me, something felt wrong. Like a thread had snapped quietly, but it was too dark to see where. The morning of my wedding, I woke up cold. Not from the air, but from something deeper. Like my body knew something I hadn't caught up with yet. I sat up slowly, every muscle aching. My mouth was dry. My hands were trembling. But I told myself it was nothing. I had waited for this day. The dress was hanging on the door. White. Flowing. It looked like a dream I didn't deserve. The makeup artist arrived first. She smiled and asked how I was feeling. I told her, excited, but my voice cracked halfway through. She said I looked pale. I said it was nerves. I was lying. Because even I didn't know what I felt anymore. Maybe fear. Maybe dread. Maybe my body was screaming at me in a language I never learned to understand. Maya came in wearing lavender. She handed me my bouquet and complimented my eyeliner. I didn't look at her. But I felt her stare sink into my skin like poison. I waited behind the chapel doors, clutching the bouquet with sweaty fingers. The music started. My legs wobbled. I took the first step. Then another. The crowd turned. Phones flashed. I saw Noah at the altar. His face was calm, too calm. Like he wasn't sure if this was a wedding or a goodbye. I took one more step. And then I heard her voice behind me. Low. Quiet. Venom. He never loved you, Ray. He just loved the version of you I created. My breath caught. I turned, slowly. She was smiling. Not the smile you give when you're proud. The smile you wear when you've won. My chest tightened. The lights blurred. And suddenly, I couldn't hear anything. My knees gave way. The bouquet dropped. Gasps filled the room. Someone screamed. And then, darkness. I woke up in a hospital room. White walls. Monitors. A dull ache in my veins. And silence. No Noah. No parents. No Maya. Just a nurse who handed me a chart I couldn't read and told me I had been unconscious for 2 days. 2 whole days. My first instinct was to grab my phone. No missed calls. No messages. But there was a new post from Maya. Smiling. With Noah. The caption said, "Grateful for love, no matter how it comes." I stared at the screen for so long my vision went blurry again. They were together. They were always together. And I was the joke. The storyline. The broken girl who thought she mattered. I checked my voicemail. Just one message. From my mom. Come home when you're done embarrassing us. After I left the hospital, I didn't go home. There was no home left for me anyway. I checked my bank account, and I found some loose change. I had nothing but a bag of clothes, a cracked phone, and a heart full of smoke. But I had one thing Maya didn't think I would have. Silence. She thought I would come out swinging. Crying. Shouting. But I disappeared. I rented a small room in a dusty corner of the city. I worked 2 jobs. sometimes 3. I didn't post. I didn't call. I didn't beg. I let her think she had one. But every night, while washing plates or folding old bedsheets at the hotel, I was collecting. Every screenshot. Every voice note. Every receipt. The anonymous numbers? I traced them. One of them was linked to an app on Maya's tablet. The photoshopped pictures? I found the original files, stored on our shared cloud folder, which Maya forgot I had access to. She left breadcrumbs everywhere. Because monsters always get sloppy when they think no one's watching. Months passed. Maya and Noah never got married. Oh, they tried. But Noah, he wasn't the same. People said he looked lost. That he didn't post her. That he never smiled the way he did when he was with me. He tried reaching out. But Maya blocked him from my life so tightly I didn't even know he was trying. It wasn't until a random hotel guest left a forgotten phone on the table, and I logged into Instagram out of desperation, and saw a DM from him, sent 4 months ago. I know now. I'm sorry. Please let me explain. I stared at that message for hours. He wasn't the villain. He was just a fool. But I wasn't about to give either of them my tears anymore. I was planning something else. Maya announced a massive engagement party. One of those soft launch turned viral events with pink balloons, champagne walls, a hashtag, and influencers on standby. It was her moment. Or so she thought. I walked in. Not as a guest. But as the ghost they thought they had buried. Long black dress. Heels that clicked like justice. Hair slicked back like a weapon. The moment I stepped into the hall, silence fell. Maya turned, and her smile froze. Noah stood beside her, eyes wide. I walked up to the mic at the center of the stage. Hi, everyone, I said. I'm Ray. You may remember me as the girl who collapsed at her own wedding. Funny thing, I was poisoned that day. Crazy, right? Gasps. Cameras lifted. Phones recording. Maya's face went pale. I reached into my bag and pulled out the envelope. Evidence. Printouts. Screenshots. Voice notes. And then? I played a recording. Maya's voice. Laughing. She really drank it. I didn't think she would. What an idiot. The room went still. I dropped the mic. I didn't stay to see the fallout. I walked out before the tears started. Before the parents screamed. Before the reporters came running. I took a cab back to my apartment. Sat on my mattress. And for the first time in over a year, I smiled. 1 year later. I run a small studio now. Art, tea, and stories. Noah came by once. Just to say sorry. I let him speak. I listened. And then I told him. You didn't break me. You just helped me realize I didn't need saving. He walked away crying. And Maya? She's still trying to fix her image. But the internet never forgets. I was born the regret. The background. The extra. But I rose. And now? I'm the headline. Subscribe for more. If you enjoyed the story, also like this video so it can reach other people, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new story. Thanks for watching.